Hello, Strat fans. This is Strat-O-logy, the show for and by students of Strat-O-Matic. I'm your host, Jimmy James, student of the game, like I'm sure all of you are out there if you are listening. Today on the show, I interview John Carter. As we end our first year and first season, I thought it'd be great to go back to where we began and bring back John to talk about the mystery tournament. You guys know how much I love that event. Okay, let's get started with the show. You know what that means? It's time to sit back, grab your cards and dice, and let's roll. Today's show will be a little shorter than usual. Craziness of the holiday season and lots of preparations for season 2. We are so happy about things we have coming up on the horizon for both our show and for the radio station. The radio station has a bunch of new shows, a bunch of new stuff coming up on current shows, and yours truly is going to host a few of the games from the past that they play at night. So super excited about that. Our plan on Strat-O-logy is to get even better. We have some great interviews lined up with former pro ball players, people from the world of Strat, and a few more out-of-the-box interviews that I think really fit in with the game. A couple of other things. We have some contests that will be coming up where you can win some Strat-O-Matic gear and hopefully soon some Strat-O-logy gear. The construction of the website is ongoing, and hopefully soon we're going to have a hub where you can link to all these great guests that we've been having and plan on having in the future. We also have a great series of roundtables planned on specific Strat topics, season reviews. The next one coming up is the 1998 set, and continue our journey around the diamond. Another thing, if you guys have ideas of things that you want the round table to discuss, call us, leave us a message. We would love to hear from you guys. Okay, let's listen to Jeff for a second, then we'll be back.
You're listening to the 365 Sportscast Network, the streaming future of sports talk radio. Listen to us round the clock on the net over 365sportscast.com. On your phone with the 365 Sportscast app, and on your favorite smart speaker by enabling the 365 Sportscast skill and saying, "Play 365 Sports." The views, opinions, and content of the show hosts and their guests appearing are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of 365 Sportscast LLC, its owners and partners, or this network.
Today I am here with John Carter, friend of the show, regular contributor to our roundtable, and the commissioner of the mystery tournament. Thank you so much for being here, John.
Hey, thank you, Jimmy James, for having me back.
I really wanted to have you on because it is now time for the mystery tournament to start up again. So I wanted to have you on so we can talk about signups and all the new things coming about. So when is the tournament signups getting ready to start, John?
Well, the signups have already started, so you can go on and sign up today, and the signups will run until Sunday, January 9th at the end of the day. is when they close. So, if you're someone who's participated in the past and you're already a 365 member, go on there onto the discussion forum. You'd be familiar with that. Find the thread for the mystery tournament and add your name and let's do it. And if you're a new player that maybe has already played 365 but has never joined the tournament, give it a shot. Reach out to me. Ask any questions. If you're interested or you're curious. And for anyone that's hasn't tried out the 365 platform, it's a great opportunity for new players as well. So you can create an account on 365 for free and, check out the details of the tournament. And if you're interested, sign up.
Actually, that was me. The tournament was my third team ever and my first mystery team. And it really hooked me right away.
Yep. Same for me, Jimmy James. I, had only had one team created before I joined my first tournament. So I hadn't had any completed teams by the time I signed up. And, I did pretty well that first year, as I think you did, and learned a lot. There's a lot of veteran players in this tournament that are willing to, share ideas and info on how some of the nuances of the game. And that really helps bring the new players up to speed. So it's a great opportunity for new players.
Yeah, I agree with you. Both the knowledge you can get from playing against those guys and the exposure you get to all the different sets that are played.
Yeah.
How many? Oh, here's a good question for you. When does the tournament itself start?
So as I mentioned, signups end on January 9th. So on January 10th, the first round, which is the 60s mystery set, all the league memberships will be established by, randomly generated lists for each league. And then, there will be a couple of weeks there for the sort of the auto draft and the waivers and some of that preseason activities. And then the opening day for the 60s leagues will be on Monday, January 24th.
Oh, very cool. It's coming up so quick. I'm excited. How many people were in the tournament last year?
So last year we had an all-time high, 168 participants in the tournament, a lot of new players. And this year we're hoping for even more. I'm hoping to reach that 200 plateau for our membership this year. As you know, there's been just, more and more new players on the 365 platform. A lot of people have, sort of come back to Strat in the last couple of years, and the 365 platform has been a popular place where people have gotten involved in the game, and people really, enjoy the mystery card, format once they play it. So, I'm hoping for even more new players this year.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look on the league directory at how many leagues that are forming. It's amazing to me how many that are forming every single day and how quick some of them go. I mean, some of them are there for quite a while if it's maybe a yearly set, but if you're talking about the sets that are played more often, once they get 5 or 6 people in them, they are filled up instantaneously.
Absolutely.
People are looking for them quickly. It's really been amazing.
Yep.
It's really been amazing to me. And, one of the other things that I wanted to say was I just love the way that you handle the setting up the leagues, how you do it randomly so that everybody gets really mixed up in the leagues for every single round. You never know who you're going to end up playing. It makes it to where you can't league shop. And I just think that is an amazing, amazing thing.
Yeah, and then you get to compete against a large number of the participants in the tournament, through those first few rounds. And sometimes you see some of those leagues that are tougher than others. You see some of the stronger players all get, randomly put into one league, and it makes that interesting. And so it really adds a lot of intrigue, I believe, as well to, each time you go through a new round, you get to see who you're playing against in that particular set.
Oh, very cool. Now, there's a couple changes to this year's. They're not huge changes. One of the ones that I'm super excited about is the 2000 set won't just be in the semifinals. It'll be a full event this year. So I'm really stoked about that. I really like the set. I know I've heard positive and negative, but I think it's a lot of times about the era that you grew up in playing and watching baseball as a kid. You know, which people are the ones that when you close your eyes you see. You know,
Absolutely. Or maybe it's the players that when you first started playing, card and dice strat, that these are some of the cards that you played with back at that time, right? So I think you're right that different age groups, the different mystery set decades appeal to different people.
So what are some of the other rule changes?
Yeah, so I think there's really three minor changes. The first one being, as you've mentioned, that the newest set, the 2000s mystery set, is being used as part of the main part of the tournament. So we're expanding that main part of the tournament from 4 rounds to 5 to use all 5 rounds in the main part of the tournament. So last year, as you mentioned, the 2000 set, which was brand new at the time, we kind of quickly added it as a semifinal round. So only the top 24 got to use it last year, but now everyone gets to play all 5 sets. The second change actually relates to that semifinal round, which will come as sort of round 6 this year. We're going to have the top 24 move on to 2 12-team semifinal leagues like we did last year. And the totals from those leagues will get added to the cumulative totals to determine the finalists again, just like last year. But new this year, the 2 championship winners from those 2 semifinal leagues automatically move on to the final 12 in the championship round. So, if you make the top 24, you kind of control your own destiny, because you can just win that semifinal league and move right on to the finals that you can, win the overall championship. So I think that'll keep a lot more teams alive as we work our way through the first 5 rounds of the tournament. And then the third, sort of minor change this year is we're going to use a live draft for the final. So last year, as we usually do, we voted on sort of some of the details of how that final round will happen with the 12 participants once they've been established. But this year we're just going to go, right to the live draft. It was what was chosen last year for the top 12, as you know, and it worked well. And we really think that's really the best way to do a championship final league, is with a live draft. So we're doing that, right from the beginning of the tournament at this point. And we've sort of figured out when that draft will likely happen, so people can sort of, plan accordingly at this point, that, at that date down the road in several months, once we work our way through the tournament, that's when the live draft will happen.
I had an amazing time at that live draft. That has been one of my Strat highlights. Strat card and dice, 365, anything. That live tournament with those guys, knowing all that was on the line, was exhilarating. It was so cool. It was so cool. And I really do think there is a bit of luck in auto drafting. And this kind of takes that out. And you would say, you know what, it's fine through the whole course, because over the course of 5 events and a semifinals, it's going to equal out. But when you're putting it all in that final league, having it really in your own hands feels a lot better.
Yeah, you nailed it. Like, that luck that you get in an individual auto draft or even in an individual season, it really does even out over time in the regular rounds. But I think that, what we've seen over the years in this tournament, and quite frankly, some of the other 365 tournaments, is that when you get to the final 12, that championship round, people like to sort of control a little bit about what players they're getting, and a live manual draft on the discussion forum is often the way that those are done. And since 365 added the live draft functionality on their website, it's just a natural to use that. Of course, it requires everyone sort of coming kind of like, a fantasy draft style, where everyone has to be logged in the draft room at a certain time. But again, by communicating that up front, hopefully we'll be able to come to an agreement that's the date and time that we can do that draft.
Yeah. Those drafts on the discussion boards are torturous.
Absolutely.
They are torturous. They take so long to get almost nothing done. It's just bickering. I understand why you auto draft, is because it is so much easier for time, there is no time constraint really on that. But when you've played now for 9 months and you're all coming down to the last two, you kind of want to have a little bit of control. You don't want it to be, I just got unlucky and I didn't get 12 of the guys I wanted.
Absolutely. And when you get to the final 12, you typically have 12 of the more interested and engaged owners at that point. So it's a little easier to get together on a live draft than it might be in the earlier rounds where, as you mentioned, there's some owners that aren't maybe paying as close attention to the discussion forums and whatnot as some of the others.
Yeah, definitely. Was there any other changes?
No, that's the main one. There's a couple of small ones, I suppose, where because we're cycling through all 5 rounds in the regular tournament, we're going to, for the semifinal set, we're actually going to determine that randomly before that round begins. Not much else. We go back and forth between using a DH in the 70 set, and we didn't use a DH last year, so we'll be using the DH in that set. So every set other than the mystery 60s, we'll be using the DH this year. But other than that, it's pretty much what you're used to. It's as Jimmy James, it's an aggressive schedule. So, 2 weeks after, once that opening day comes of one set, you're preparing to put your draft card together for the next one. The rounds start every 2 weeks. So that's part of the challenge of the tournament. Some people are surprised at that when they first hear about the tournament, but once you've done it, you understand that's, the best way to work it. Quite frankly, you have to, squeeze it in to a calendar year somehow. So you have to make it an aggressive schedule, but it also adds to the challenge. And that's, the people that do well are the ones that get good at balancing those different teams simultaneously.
Well, and I think, and maybe as a new player, in some ways it helps, because I think sometimes as a new player, you have a tendency to micromanage. And when it's going that fast, it's a lot of it is absorbing information that so much is coming in, and you're seeing how the other guys are playing, and you're seeing how your team is doing. It kind of takes you away from all that super tinkering that some of the times hurts you more than helps you. And so you can kind of see the way that it plays through with it going a little faster like that. So I think it can help a new player, because it can break you of a couple bad habits early.
Yeah, cuts down on that overthinking, right? Yeah. And the other thing is, the fact that it's 2 weeks you have before the next one starts is kind of a good time period, because then you've got 42 games in. So then you're, because there's 3 games a day, so 21 a week, 42 after 2 weeks. So that at that point, the drop penalty goes from 5% to 10%. So that's kind of a natural period where a lot of people, if things are going well, like to have their team set to move on and play the rest of the season. So it might also help on some of that overthinking that happens in the latter 3 quarters of the season, when you can really start getting into trouble when you're making too many moves at that point.
Exactly. If you're making moves that late in the season, you're just hurting your team. If you're dropping it at 20% drop, there's nobody hardly that's gonna be. You're gonna be the luckiest dude to make a guy like an $8 million guy better than a $10 million. It's just does not happen very often in that. And if you've got another team that you're trying to build, you're like, maybe you won't play with it, when you shouldn't.
Right.
You actually, both questions I was going to ask you covered was this year about the 70s, which of the, if it was going to be DH or no DH. And the other thing, I love the fact that the semifinals will be random. It just so fits with Strat-O-Matic. It's all based on that. And here's an invitation. Come on, we would love for you to announce it on here, and we'll make sure it gets all to all of our social media stuff too. We would love to have you on when that happens to announce that number, John. It would be great.
Sure. Let's do it. Hey, it's the mystery tournament, and the teams that are in each of your leagues is a mystery, because we do that randomly. So why not add some mystery to what set's being used in the semifinals, right?
Oh, I think that's great. It really, really, it excites me too, because it just fits in with all the other stuff. You don't know what year your guy is, you know, for the semis or the finals. Until right before it starts, you're not even going to know if it's a set that you're good at or if it's not a set you're good at.
Absolutely.
So it may just come down to be, oh my gosh, that's the set that I just barely break even all the time. And man, I just wish it was this one or this one. And if that had been the 70s for me, that's what it would have been. I do a lot better on the 60s and 80s than I do on the 70s for some reason. But
and hey, it might work out the other way too. You might be in that 24th position looking for a break, and then it lands on your favorite set, so it, you know, gives you a chance to fight your way back in.
no, that's it for sure. That's it for sure. Well, thank you so much for being here, John. Everybody, go on there, sign up for this tournament. I promise you will have a good time. This is one of the highlights of Strat-O-Matic. I truly believe that, John. You do a wonderful job. It is such a well-run tournament. I can't say enough of the great job you do, John.
Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for your support, Jimmy James, and thanks for giving me this chance to promote the tournament that we both love so much.
Always, John. Always, John. I anytime you have anything you want to share, this is the forum you can do it. Okay? We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the 365 Sportscast Network, the streaming future of sports talk radio. Listen to us round the clock on the net over 365sportscast.com. On your phone with the 365 Sportscast app, and on your favorite smart speaker by enabling the 365 Sportscast skill and saying, "Play 365 Sports." The views, opinions, and content of the show hosts and their guests appearing are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of 365 Sportscast LLC, its owners and partners, or this network.
You know, when this show was just an idea, I was nervous like crazy. And I was really lucky. I had a lot of people out there that really, really helped support me and helped me with the courage to go on with this project. And so I want to take a couple seconds to say thank you to some people, but this is nowhere near a comprehensive list of the people that have influenced and touched the show in the first year. So the first people I need to thank is you guys out there listening. I am blown away by the support. It's been so encouraging, the messages and hearing the stories about how the game has touched you like it has touched me. The people that have listened to the show from all over the world. We've had listeners in India and England. We have a great following in Canada. We've had from Puerto Rico, from Italy. It's just, I'm blown away, and thank you guys so much for listening. Second, I want to thank 365 Sportscast for airing the show. It has been a wonderful time doing that. I just am so grateful for those guys. The next person is, I want to thank Strat-O-Matic themselves. They have been so amazing. They were literally some of our very first followers on social media. They've been so helpful with so many things getting the show started. And we have a couple other things coming up soon that they've helped us out with, and we're so excited about that. The next person I really want to thank is my wife and kids. They have been great, been so gracious about the time that this takes. The next person the next group of people that I want to thank is all the guys on the round table. They are a wonderful source of encouragement and a wonderful source of knowledge. Thank you so much, Sir Peter, Sir Charles, Sir Dave, Sir Tony, Sir Eric, Sir John, and Sir Kiko. I think I got everybody. So hopefully I didn't miss any of those nights going around there. And another person that I really, really need to give an extra special thank you to is my buddy Jeff Teczon, the guy who has all the music that we get to listen to every show. If you go out there and try to do a project like this, instantaneously you will find out how expensive it is to have quality music in the show. So it's just thanks so much to everyone that has been a part of this. Thank you to Andrew Burkham. He's the person who did a lot of our voiceover stuff. It's just been a wonderful year and cannot wait until next season. So, hey Jeff, will you play us out?
You got it, Jimmy James.
Find us every Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, on 365 Sportscast radio streaming service. Download the app. Makes it crazy easy to listen. See you next week. Same Strat time, same Strat channel.
Hi, this is David with Michigan and Trumbull Dice Boxes. Michigan and Trumbull Dice Boxes, or MTDB, specializes in handcrafted dice trays and dice towers for any board or tabletop game that utilizes dice. Now, the purpose of MTDB is twofold. Number one, it keeps those pesky dice in the box and on the table and out of the paws of the cat. Number two, it reduces the noise produced by the dice rolls. Foam-lined walls and towers deaden the sound. Each tray and each tower is personalized to the needs of the customer. Catch us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Michigan and Trumbull Dice Boxes. Our website is www.mtdbgaming.com. That's www.mtdbgaming.com. Michigan and Trumbull Dice Boxes. Look us up.